Hello everyone, my name is Nolan Torres. I am a junior here at Vanguard. I am a kinesiology pre-health professions major, and I am involved in quite a few things on campus. I am a decathlete for our track team. I am part of a few clubs. I'm part of the mix. I'm part of, and I'm the secretary for the SOCNOS chapter here at Vanguard, and this is my story. So, uh, when I was about 4 years old, I had a seizure and I went to our local hospital. And long story short, they sent me to Children's Hospital of Orange County, which isn't too far. It's about like 10-15 minutes from here. But so the reason I start here is because my whole life has kind of been this big, long trial of dealing with medical issues. And before I get into the rest of it, I tell everybody this not for pity, not to feel bad for me, not to, get sympathy, but to kind of show you guys that just because you have things wrong with you, that doesn't necessarily mean you're not worth anything or you can't like do great things, if that makes sense. So going kind of back to the story. So over the course of my life, starting from when I was 4, I've been with Chalk Hospital. I'm 20 years old now, so in June it'll be uh, 17 years that I've kind of been going through all this. I have a complex cystic brain mass, which means I have cysts on my brain, and they kind of lay around various parts of my brain. I have what's called agenesis of your corpus callosum, and that's the kind of the fibers that connect your left and right brain. I'm missing about half of that, and I have primary immunodeficiency, which means I have a weakened immune system, which has definitely made my entire life, but definitely these last 2-3 years with COVID kind of really challenging for me. My pancreas doesn't work, so I have to take medication for that. I have epilepsy, which I also take medication for. And I also have this thing called hereditary hemochromatosis, which is fancy for high iron. So, as you can see, I have quite a few notches on the belt in terms of medical conditions that they do affect my daily life. I have to take, 22, 23 pills a day. I have to do weekly infusions to keep my immune system, kind of up to as close to par as it can to keep me healthy. And I've had various doctor visits, procedures, things to keep me healthy, which I'm very thankful for, and which is why I'm here in front of you giving this testimony today. So again, I say all of this to kind of show you guys that I was struggling a lot with my faith, especially um, uh, last year. It was a lot of the new things that were forming, the hereditary hemochromatosis, dealing with uh, COVID, because COVID had been really hard. My family and I, to keep me safe, especially, we didn't go out. We ordered our groceries, and unboxed them and cleaned them and got our vaccinations as soon as we could and things like that to try and keep me safe. And so, uh, like I said, it's been pretty hard. So I was chatting with my Coach Johnny, and I was like, this is unfair, and I admit, like, I was faithful growing up. I knew there was a higher power. I just didn't really commit to the kind of the organized religion deal, and I know a lot of people, kind of struggle with that and look for answers. It's like, I believe there's a God, but why would this God make me sick? Why would this God, take a family member away from me? Why would they give me this trial, do these things, but also be a loving God? Kind of things like that. So I'm struggling with this, and I go to my coach and I say, hey, look, I don't understand, right? I have all these different medical conditions, and I try to not let it affect me in the classroom, in sports, in life in general. But no matter how hard I try to not think about it, it is very hard not to. And it's, evident in the way I live my daily life. And I've kind of gotten used to it, but, I take medications in front of people, and I've become very good at letting that just be a normal thing. But it is a little awkward, right? You got to do certain things, take certain medications, and it's, oh, why are you taking this or why are you taking that? And so my coach sat me down, and he pointed to John 9, right, 1 through 9, the story of how Jesus heals the blind man with mud, and everyone kind of knows that story. So he made a good point to me. He said that after he heals the blind man, and they had asked him, oh, who sinned, him or his parents, and things like that, and he said, and Jesus was saying that neither. It was that he was this way so that people could see the glory of God through this man, through his trials and tribulations. With what he had going on, he was still able to give glory to God and show people that just because he had this thing going on that kind of impaired his way of living, that there was still ways God could be glorified through him. And that's what my coach was explaining to me. He was saying all these different things. I'm not actually blind, but he was saying all these things that you have going on in your life are you're blind per se. So I have to do the medications. I have to go to doctor's appointments, probably more than most people. And I'm thinking through this and kind of trying to process it. I'm thinking, I am able to go to class and study what I want to study. I am able to, socialize with friends and make friends and have friends that understand, because a lot of people don't understand what I go through. And I think that's what I've been really blessed with, especially here at Vanguard and throughout my life, is to have people who have, been with me, who understand what I'm going through, who are here for me through those, through those trials and through those seasons where, things are really tough. And so thinking through that, I was like, okay, now I would like to, and my whole life we've worked with Children's Hospital of Orange County to go and share my testimony with people and, help raise funds and awareness for the hospital through our own fundraising group that we have called Team Torres. Shout out to Team Torres if anyone's watching this. So I've had a lot of experience kind of sharing my testimony and helping raise money for this hospital, that saved my life. And so when I was asked to do this, I was like, absolutely. Because I personally believe that sharing your testimony, regardless of where it's at, whether it's a fundraiser, whether it's a My Story Matters Monday, or just in daily conversation, the more people that hear my story, and like I said in the beginning, it's not for sympathy, it's not for, people feeling bad for me, it's to show people that just because you have something going on in your life that's affecting the way that you live, does not mean you can't live a fruitful life and kind of display, the talents that you have. Everyone has a certain talent that they were gifted with. And I just kind of tried to explain this to my team during our team retreat. I said, your gift may be athletics. Your gift may be school. It may be, being somebody that's there for your friends. Everyone has something. Whether you think you do or not, everyone has something. And so I think that me being able to, figure out, for me, I am part of our track team. I'm part of our kinesiology department. I'm studying to be an athletic trainer because the three things I love most in this world are helping people, medicine, and sports. And I found something that was able to, kind of bring together all three of those things that I enjoy. And so I want to go back to kind of like early in my childhood real quick. As my parents, shout out to my parents and my brother, growing up, they kind of told me, and they were raised Catholic, they did communion class, all that stuff, but they told me basically, this is God, here's, he's a higher power, but figure it out on your own, basically. They didn't want to force me into anything and kind of just be like, okay, you're going to do this. They kind of let me figure it out on my own. So every Christmas we had the manger scene with the little ceramic figures, and that was like my favorite thing ever to do, because they would read us a story out of the little kids book that you used to find at like the book fairs. And we, every time, somebody would come into the story of the three wise men. We put them over here on the end of at the end of the manger scene because they technically weren't there yet. And then like all the animals would be, in the stable, and all these things. Gabriel, we'd put him on top of the manger scene. But so they told us that story, and so growing up, I always believed there was a God. I always, prayed before my baseball games growing up, or before races or things like that. But they kind of let me navigate my life spiritually the way that was best for me. So when it came time to pick a college, I was kind of like, oh, where do I go? Should I go here? Should I go there? I don't know where I'm supposed to go. And everything kind of aligned. The signs kind of aligned, and I'm the kind of person that's like, okay, if there's signs telling me to do this, then that's gotta be the calling that I have to go somewhere or to do something or kind of things of that nature. So long story short, the first sign, I got a free application in my email, filled it out. Then I went to our college fair at our high school. I went to Corona High School, shout out Corona High. And the first booth when I walk in is Vanguard University. So I'm like, oh snap, right? So it's 2 signs in a row. And then it turns out our throws coach in high school also went here. So I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3, that's it. And so I get in contact, I apply to the university, I get in, and then I talked to our coach, Coach Johnny on our track team, and I was like, okay, that sealed the deal. I was like, I took my one visit, I was like, this is where I need to be, this is where I'm appreciated, this is where I'm welcome, this is where I have a community that is able to kind of help me through whatever it is that I'm going through, and this is where I need to be. So I think going back, that kind of stems from my parents letting me figure out what I needed to do on my own, instead of kind of being put in a box and sent down this like path just because they went on that path. I think that everything in my life that has transpired, good, bad, whatever adjective you like to use, all kind of led to this moment, and I've been extremely blessed, by God to do what I have done, to be able to share my story, to be able to do the things that I've been able to do, that I'm able to show people, I'm sick, right? I have illnesses and ailments that prevent me from doing certain things, but I've learned in my life that I'm given these skills and these talents to help people and kind of display the work of God, being just because someone has these things going on doesn't mean that they can't thrive. And so while there are things that I can't do in life, I have learned that the best way to kind of go about life is to understand the blessings that you have, the family that supports you, the friend groups that you have, the talents that you're given, the gifts that you're given, using all of those things to thrive in life despite what you have, I think is a very big testament, not just to myself, but to others as well. And my hope is, by sharing my story and what I have been through and my journey, not just physically and emotionally, but spiritually as well, is a big thing for me, because whether it's helping raise money for a hospital or simply telling my story to somebody, there's always some part of a story that somebody tells that resonates with somebody. So whether through my testimony it was not realizing that you had a gift, that you now realize, hey, Nolan said this, and now I think, okay, yeah, maybe this is my gift that I'm blessed with. Or whether you're sick as well and you have something going on and you say, oh, hey, despite all this, look at me, I'm here at Vanguard, I'm here at whatever school I'm going to, I'm able to live the life that I can live. And or whether it's saying, oh, okay, there's people in my life that I realize are like Nolan, and now the community that we're forming is understanding of kind of people like him and how they live and kind of things like that. So I'm thankful for the opportunity to be able to share my story, because like I said, no matter where I share it, there's always some part of my story that resonates with somebody. And whether everybody that watches this finds a piece of my story that they can relate to and kind of take away from this, or one person watches this and realizes there's something that resonates with them, I think that's all that matters, because I think the more people that get out and share their testimonies and their stories, the more people can realize, that they have a purpose in the world, and that they were all given a gift that they're meant to share with everybody, that will just make us all better in the long run. So I appreciate everyone's time. I know it was a little bit long of a video, but I appreciate everyone sticking with me through the video to kind of hear what I had to say, and I hope that this was fruitful for you guys. So